Friday Night Showdown recap starts now.
Welcome into our Friday Night Showdown recap show. It's week 8. Many conference battles have already been decided here in Central Illinois, but still a few important games, playoff spots to be earned. We start with our game of the week. It's Williamsville at Maroa Forsyth. It's a clash of Central Illinois powerhouses and a Sangamo Conference decider if the Bullets were to win. And tonight was simply the Matthew Miller show. Whoop, missed tackle, whoop, another, and this man would not be denied a manimal first touchdown there for Miller and the Bullets. And a response from Maroa. It's going to be Shepard. He drops back. He's going to look right, and he finds Caden Birmingham, the senior weapon. He breaks free and scores the touchdown through contact. But back to Miller we go, up the gut, and he takes the lead back right before the break, 25-20 at halftime. And we return from intermission, and it's going to be the Jackson Sanders show taking over for Miller. He finds Griffin Watkins over the top for yet another Bullet score. And Matthew Miller, he did sustain a big hit in the second half, was injured later on. We hope he's okay, but that man was our player of the game. 5 touchdowns in a win that sealed the Sangamo Conference. Bullets by 19. No trophy presentation on recording because that game went a little long, but congrats to the Bullets Conference champs and 8-0. We slide over to Porta AC. The Blue Jays hosting Riverton after a big win over Athens last week. Porta with the ball to start. It's McAnally. He throws the ball deep, looking for Logan Baker, and he's going to find his man Baker and makes a great grab. He's going to break a tackle, and then it's Ravelli Jaden hustling to recover the ball and knock it out. Big play for Riverton. Hawks now in the backfield. Porta strikes. And the defensive play of their own, McAnally, he gets the diving interception. Back with Porta, 4th down. McAnally sneaks it up the middle and through the pile. He scores into the end zone. Riverton looking to answer Bath. It's Giberson off the Wildcat, throws a Graydon Hartlob and the streak, and he makes a diving grab to land on the 1-yard line. An amazing catch has to be rewarded. Hartlob, he's going to go up the middle for a touchdown. However, this one's a big win for Porta. Final score, 38-8. And sticking in the Sangamo, Olympia on the road up against Pleasant Plains. Olympia deep in Pleasant Plains territory here. And we're going to throw to the goal line, and it's going to be picked off by Judah Estel on the 2-yard line. A big play there for Plains. Cardinals, difficult field position, and they fumble the snap, picked up by Jimmy Lawler, our Spencer Davis's favorite player, and he takes it in for a score. Olympia back in Cardinal territory. A pitch out here to Brendan Hardiman, who breaks a tackle in for another Spartan touchdown. Cardinals getting desperate here in the midfield. They take over the middle, and it's picked off by Hardiman. He's back in our highlights, doing it on both sides of the ball. A great return for him. And the pitch is later on is by Caden Collins. He's going to make a strong stiff arm, reach the end zone. Touchdown, big win as Olympia lays down the law, gets to 5 wins, 54-13 final. In our final game in this conference, it's New Berlin at home up against Athens. Big one for playoff spots for both squads. And Sting starting off, Brady Cruz. He takes it all the way down the field for an early touchdown. And why not again? Faking the handoff, Cruz runs it up the middle, taking it down the field for another New Berlin score. Now rushing back through here, it's going to be Gage Hahn, a frequent foe. And he gets into the end zone. Big score there for the Warriors. They get the ball back, and Cruz, he's going to toss it here to Michael Pecoraro, and he takes it down the field, putting them up 20-6. However, it's Athens getting to 5 wins on the road. Final score, 29-27. And coming up after the break, my favorite thing in the entire world, aside from a nice chicken parm, it's more football. Don't go anywhere, because I certainly won't. And welcome back into our Friday Night Showdown recap show. First block of games here in Central Illinois, all wrapped up. Up next, it's our own Carson Gordy, who has all the action from out by Champaign. Carson, take it away. I hear you have a little history.
Hey, Sammy, we had a lot of good games over in my neck of the woods. Let's get straight to the highlights. Urbana taking on Manual. Last weekend was an interesting one for Urbana. They had to call the game off at halftime. They forfeited due to a fight, so they want to bounce back and snap their losing streak they've had since 2019. Urbana's rushing attack is really strong all day. Running back gashed them in the first half, and they're able to put up 21 points, go up 15, just 1 half away from their first win since 2019. And Urbana's defense really stepped up. Last year, they gave up 57 points per game. This year, only 35. Wow, what a hit stick right there. 4th down, last chance for Manual, no good. And Urbana, yes, they won their first football game, and they improved to 1-7. They are much improved in 2025. Now going to our next game right here, we have Champaign Central taking on Normal West. Champaign Central, they're 3-4, and they needed this win to try to get into the playoffs for the first time since 2018, but their defense, it has struggled this year. They gave up 51 points to Springfield in week 1, and similarly today, it was just not the best performance against Normal West. Quick passing game here and goes right through that Champaign Central secondary. The Maroons would try to put up some points on offense, but they weren't able to keep up. They would lose this game by double digits. They fall to 3-5, and their playoff hopes are going to have to wait until the 2026 season. And finally, our last game, both these teams, they don't have to worry. They're both going to make the playoffs. Oakwood taking on Salt Fork. These are two longtime rivals in Vermilion County. Early on, Salt Fork making a good play, making a miss, and getting that first down. But they would only score 7 points the entire time. This story was all about Oakwood. Oakwood, a very strong offense, very consistent play action pass right here. Finds his man, but interception right there, and that's going to do it for Oakwood. They would go up 28-7, and they improved to 6-2 this year. They're going to build some serious momentum heading into the playoff, but Salt Fork still a good year at 5-3. And now let's go over to the scoreboard real quick and check it out. These are the games, unfortunately, we weren't able to get to. Tuscola upset by Hayworth, 30-14. Did not see that coming. Monticello, they improved to 6-2 with that 18-14 win over Prairie Central. They are quietly having a good year, even without Ike Young, who went to the University of Illinois. Casey Westfield, no longer undefeated. They lost to Richland County, 28-27. Going to the other scores real quick, Centennial, they are now 5-3. They're going to make the playoffs. They won last week, but this was a tough one, 56-7. Effingham continues to impress with a 36-16 victory. And this team, watch out for them. Westville, they are 8-0. They are averaging 57 points per game. They scored 59 today. So they improved and they beat the Corn Jerkers 59-0. That's one of the best offenses in Central Illinois. That's all I got, Sammy. Back to you.
Thanks, Carson. Now, if you're a frequent watcher, you know exactly what I'm about to say. After the break, we have even more football. It doesn't get any better than that. CSA action. Keep your booties right where they are. We'll be right back. Welcome back into our Friday Night Showdown recap show. It's time for our final block of games here, focusing on the Central State 8 with a trio of big games going on between the two halves of the conference. We start with the unbeaten Titans hosting the Cyclones from SHG, both CSA East and West champions represented. The Titans up first here in the second half, and it's Colton Knaler looking deep for Lanin, but Drew Ward in coverage. He gets the hand to break that play up. They get a fourth down stop, and then that man, a bad man, Mikey Gresh, gets to rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling, and he won't be stopped. Well, he would, just inside the 5. And inside the 5 he goes, and into the end zone he ends up. Gresh with the score. Cyclones take a 17-7 lead. And Tegardar Griffin would get another stop. SHG turns back to the ground game and back to Gresh. A chance at another touchdown, but the ball is out at the goal line into the end zone, but Lucas Oslin recovers. Big man touchdown and a big-time comeback for Glenwood. Scores 28 points in the fourth quarter to win it. Then over to Rochester, the Rockets hosting Springfield High. And if the Rockets, Hank Beatty in attendance on his bye week. Senators looking to get something going first here. Brady Scheffler trying to buy some time, but he gets taken down for a sack. And then Springfield High, a big play back. Beal looking for Stanton, and DeAndre Brown cuts it off with an interception. Rockets, they get the stop and then go to work. Completion here to Gregory before Jory Myron punches it in for the second Rocket score of the game. And what do you know? It's Jory Myron, the next Rocket chance, and it's Jory Myron, the next Rocket score. Easy does it for Rochester as they improve to 7-1 on the season, ready for next week's Leonard Bowl. Senators in our game of the week next week against Glenwood. And the Crimsons head to they actually head to Arthur here. They take on the Panthers. And here we go deep in the end zone, and it's Hayden Richardson who bounces it outside for a walk-in touchdown. Crimsons with the ball now, and it's Darren Henry, and he's going to show some agility weaving through the defenders before being dragged down in the open field. A really nice run. Crimsons deep in the red zone, a handoff, and it's an Ackerman. He gets stuffed for alignment, pushes him in to score. A little assist, a little help from your friends, if you will. Aiden Richardson, he uses a few juke moves a little later on. We're going to get him bouncing outside for another strong run for MacArthur before he's pushed out of bounds. Jacksonville, though, they win a massive nail-biter. Final score, 36-33. And the Taylorville Tornadoes, they were hosting Mount Zion in tonight's game, a big one that could decide the conference. To start things here is Taylorville. And they come in, they sack quarterback Keller Stocks, one of the best here in Central Illinois. Mount Zion, they come back with a sack of their own, and they take down Repshire. And then here's Taylorville quarterback Repshire throwing it up, and it is picked off by the Braves. And Stocks, he's going to put it in the air, and we get another massive catch, this time for Mount Zion, and we run it right in. Touchdown for the Braves. It is number 18. It is J.C. Anderson as they score. No final score reported for this one. We'll update you when we can. So that'll do it for our highlights. We're going to come right back. It was another great week. We have one more week ahead of us, so don't go anywhere. I'll conclude things when we come back. Welcome back in one last time here on Friday Night Showdown Week 8. Let's wrap things up with all of our action, I should say, with our best plays of the night. Let's start here with my own personal play of the night. And it's a fun one, Wildcat, and it's Ethan Giberson. He throws the ball deep to Graydon Hartlob, who makes a diving one-handed grab, and that ends up being just short of a touchdown, but it's Hartlob who has a little QB run, lowers his shoulder in for the score. A big one there. However, not a win for Riverton. And then Salt Fork looking to come back and knock off their conference rival, but Oakwood, they're going to read this play, jump the route for a game-sealing interception. The Comets improved to 6-2. Next game of the week is going to be a good one, and our last one, Friday Night Showdown, finishing off the year in style, a conference-deciding duel in Week 9, and it's a Central State 8 showdown in Springfield. Here is a 5-win Senator team up against unbeaten Glenwood after a big win for them tonight. It's sure to be a good one to close out the season. But that's going to do it for us here in Week 8. Make sure to tune back in for one final time this season, and thanks for watching.